and gentlemen, welcome to the City College of New York Alumni Association's 143rd Gala. Your host for the evening, Dr. Alan Hershkowitz, class of 1978.
Whoa. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? My name is Alan Hershkowitz. I graduated in 1978. Also a Townsend Harris medalist. It's a real privilege and an honor to be here today as your host. When David Covington sent me an email and asked me if I would be willing to host tonight, I immediately said yeah. I thought it would be great to meet and greet people and direct people to their tables. And then David wrote me an email saying, fantastic, I'll send you a script right before the event. And I thought, a script? Why do I need a script to be a host? And I figured, oh, okay, well, there's awards, so I need to know who's getting the awards, and it's a prestigious award, most prestigious award. And then this Tuesday, I opened my email for David's script, and this morning I printed it out, and it was 53 pages long. Bear with me. I'm going to do my best to get through this. It's going to be a great night. So good evening, everyone. Welcome, alumni, faculty member, staff, friends, members of the college community. Welcome to the 143rd Annual Alumni Gala. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm not going to really talk much about my own experience here, except to say it was the most transformative experience in my life. Most important organization I ever affiliated with was City College. I'm a child of Holocaust refugees, and when I was a little boy and asked my mother for $5 for a deposit on a Little League uniform so I could join the Little League, she didn't have it, so I couldn't join the Little League. But when it came time to come to college, City College was tuition free, and I only had to cough up a $77 student union tuition fee, a $77 student union fee every term, which I was able to earn by working in my father's ice cream store and driving a taxi. So welcome back to City College to everyone. Welcome to the Great Hall. For those of you with us tonight in the Great Hall, you may have noticed our mini art show tonight. I want to acknowledge Randy Brosen, president of the Art Alumni Group. Randy, please stand up. Randy curated a show for our cocktail hour, which had artwork from faculty and alumni, as well as current students. Let me just name some of the faculty and alumni whose work is represented in the little art show. Carolee Borgiano, Beth Bayless, Katie James, Rose Deller, Martha Gullahorn, and I want to mention some current students who are also represented in the art show. Linda X. Lee, Jordan Maleski, and also I want to point out that City College Professor Emerita Elizabeth Starkovic, who was an alum from 63. Yeah. Elizabeth's piece is really stunning. It's called Seismic Sighs for Peace in War. Seismic Sighs for Peace in War. I was told by Elizabeth that she created that artwork in response to the Iraq War right after 9/11, but needless to say, we could use some seismic sighs for peace in war today. Thank you, Elizabeth. And if okay, so if you're here tonight and haven't had a chance to see the artwork, I encourage you to view it later in the evening. Tonight we carry on a tradition that has been going on for 143 years. For 143 years, this Alumni Association has hosted an annual gathering of alumni and members of the college community to share a meal and to raise a glass in honor of fellow alumni and their achievements. Tonight, we celebrate 7 graduates who have gone on to do spectacular work in New York City and beyond. I'm going to name the Townsend Harris medalists and the Finley Award winner. Please join me in applauding the medalists. When I say your name, please stand to be acknowledged. First is Dr. Joseph Abate. Dr. Abate is represented tonight by his daughter, Corey Abate. Bernard Adler, class of 62. Dr. Tracy Burgess. Al DeLeon, has Al made it in? Yeah. Vivian Gornick. Dr. Eric Poon. And Joblin Younger. Tonight, we also salute the Alumni Association's 76th Finley Award honoree, David R. Jones, the President and CEO of the Community Services Society, an incredibly important New York City organization. Also, the voice that you heard at the beginning of this event, the voice that introduced me, and the one that you'll continue to hear throughout the program, is our resident voiceover artist and broadcast journalist and City College 1969 alum, Jane Tillman Irving. As we all know, Jane served as the news writer and reporter for CBS Radio and CBS TV. Thank you, Jane, for being the voice of the Alumni Association. Right now, I'd like to introduce to you the executive officers of the Alumni Association. If you're here in the room, when I call your name, if you could stand to be recognized, that would be great. The president of the Alumni Association, Larry Greengrass. Dr. Joyce Coppin is vice president. Shin-Pei Koo, another vice president. Paul Goodman, class of 61, another vice president. Diane Rodriguez, class of 78, like me, treasurer. Sean Chin Chance, secretary. And Jacqueline Brooks, the association historian. Jacqueline is not with us in the Great Hall tonight this evening. She's home joining virtually like many of you out there are doing today. So I hope you're watching and interacting with alumni in your home, on your couch. There's many users who are logged in from around the world tonight. To all of you joining us virtually, thank you for joining us and welcoming us into your home tonight. Regardless of where you are tonight, on a couch at home or in the great hall, the great hall, let's raise a glass, a toast, to our alma mater, We are forever, quote, bound by ties that naught can sever. That is a line, of course, from Lavender. Which I don't think I've ever sung in my life. Bound by ties that can never sever. So here we go. Okay, at this time I'd like to ask the president of the Alumni Association to come on up to the podium. Larry Greengrass, thank you so much for your service to the college. Larry graduated in '73 and went on to get a law degree from NYU in '76. He grew up in the Bronx. He is, like me, he's the son of 2 Holocaust survivors. He's a well-known attorney in insurance and reinsurance. He worked for more than 40 years at Mound, Cotton, Wolin, and Greengrass. And since his retirement, he's continued to handle disputes and arbitration. Please welcome Larry Greengrass.
So, good evening, everybody. Just love those lights. It is really wonderful being in this great hall yet again, a place that really, I think, represents in many ways the historical importance of the City College and the Alumni Association. Despite the fact that I spent a lot of time in this room trying to register for classes, which was a nightmare, as those of you who are old enough to have that experience as well, too. So let me just acknowledge and ask you to stand any past presidents of the Alumni Association. Gary, I know you're in this room. Thank you. Who else do we have? John? Ann Mancuso is here. Yep. John DeLeese back there. Thank you. Thanks very much. What an honor it is to be president of this great Alumni Association, which we're celebrating 143 years of doing this. I wasn't at all of those events, but as many as I can possibly get. You know, as I often do at these alumni conferences, meetings, events, board meetings, etc., I'm known to tend to read from our mission statement. Just one sentence, very briefly. Our mission statement, of course, was written many decades ago, but I think its importance, particularly in today's times, cannot be overstated. Quote, "The purpose of the Alumni Association is to promote the general welfare of the City College and its alumni, to establish beneficial relationships between the college and the alumni, and to advance the principles of public higher education without regard to race, creed, color, or national origin." Right? That really kind of says it all. The Alumni Association is a vital partner to the alumni and to the college community through our numerous, and I mean numerous, social events, networking meetings, our scholarships, our mentoring of students, our communications, the Alumni Beat, the Alumnus Magazine, passing along the college's beat, and all of the very significant events that take place throughout the year. To all of you who are here and to all of you watching from home, we are the product of an institution that has made and continues to make an extraordinary difference in the lives of the people who come here. So many of the students today, like me, are the first in their families to ever go to college. And the difference that this college makes in those lives are just extraordinary, over and over and over again, and should never be taken for granted or underestimated. And our job as the Alumni Association is to support the college, to support the alumni, to support the students, and help achieve the best possible outcome for all of those individuals. That's what we do. So please engage in our many activities, programs, and experiences, whether it's a baseball game, a football game, visit to the World Trade Center observation deck. Look at all of our affiliates and the mentoring and social and networking opportunities that they offer. Our affiliates include art, architecture, Asian alumni, Black alumni, business, communications, CWE, education, engineering, ROTC, Latino, varsity, political science, young professionals. All of those affiliate organizations also have their events in which they help to support the college, support the students, and support the alumni. So it's really extraordinary work, I believe, that we do. And by your attendance here, you have demonstrated that you agree that this institution and this Alumni Association are worthy of your support. You are demonstrating your commitment to give back for everything that we have received and everything that by being present can be passed on and passed forward to the next generation of students. So, thank you to everybody here who have demonstrated your commitment to support what we do. And let me just say something specifically to our young alumni, our scholarship recipients, young professional alumni group, and the young alumni who are here and watching from home. Let me read a quote from a famous philosopher. Quote, "We are led by our gut instincts, our intuition, our desires and fears, our scars and our dreams, and we will screw it up sometimes. Hard things will happen to us, but we will recover. We will learn from it. We will grow more resilient because of it." Close quote. That philosopher is Taylor Swift. I just want to add one more point. The association, of course, is not a political association or a political organization. Yet we do represent the interests of thousands of alumni who live all over the country and all over the world. And from time to time, when there are events that impact our members, I have followed in the footsteps of our great past president, Gary Kalnick, who made statements on several difficult issues of the day. Following the tragic deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and too many other Black and brown people, Gary wrote as follows, quote, "The cycle of hatred and racism must be broken. We as citizens must galvanize the outrage and energy to root out hatred and racism in whatever institutions, companies, organizations, or communities it has taken hold." Close quote. Gary. A year ago, on behalf of the Alumni Association, I put out a statement condemning hate crimes, conspiracy theories, and violence aimed at African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Jewish Americans. And in recent weeks, I have put out a statement on behalf of the Alumni Association and have spent considerable time working with alumni and the college leadership to address anti-Semitism and making our campus a safe place for all City College students. Accordingly, your Alumni Association continues to take a leadership role, and your support make these efforts possible. So thanks again for being here. Thanks to those watching from home. Please continue to help us do what we do. Maintain and renew your membership. Join us as we continue to carry out our mission to promote the general welfare for the City College of New York. Thank you and enjoy your evening.
There's nothing more meaningful than trying to alleviate human suffering, and that really is the humanitarian foundation of this institution. And to the leadership of the Alumni Association, those who are continuing to support this blessing of an organization, thank you so much for what you're doing. Your work is more meaningful now than ever. Okay, so now I want to give greetings from the college administration. I'm pleased to introduce the current Provost of City College, Dr. Tony Liss. Dr. Liss is an internationally known physicist. He served as Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs since March 2018, and we're very pleased to have him here with us. Dr. Liss, come on up. I'll get out of your way.
Thank you. Boy, I know what you mean about the lights. So I can't read my notes, so we're going to wing it. So, greetings, everybody. I am thrilled to be here and privileged to be able to represent the college on behalf of the president. Vince asked me to send his greetings, to tell you that he wishes he could be here, but in fact, he is off at a conference. That's what he asked me to tell you. Now I'm going to tell you the true story, which is that I really wanted to do this, so I bought him a ticket and put him on a plane and sent him out of town. So I've got some good things to say about the college, and things are, there are some very positive things going on, so I want to start with that. First of all, we've just come through about 5 or 6 years of declining enrollments that actually preceded the pandemic, although the pandemic really exacerbated it. This year, for the first time, we've had a significant increase in enrollment at the college. Our enrollment in the fall was up by about 4%, which is a big jump. And I'm not allowed to say this in print because I tried once, but it leads all of the CUNY colleges. We are the rest of CUNY envies us, let me say that. And that doesn't come easily. It comes because we put a lot of work. We hired great people in our enrollment management team. We have been working with deans and the enrollment management team over the last couple of years to really turn around the way we do admissions, enrollment, and recruiting, and it's really starting to pay off. In the spring semester coming up, our enrollment is up by about 27%. Which is good for the spring. The spring is usually mostly transfer students, very few first-time freshmen. We're starting to see students from the high schools in New York who, during the pandemic and shortly after, really wanted to take a pause. We're starting to see them deciding it's time to come back to college and thinking seriously about what an amazing place City College is and all of the CUNY schools. For the fall semester, our applications are up, and you'll think you're mishearing this, but it's true. Our applications are up by almost 300% over where they were this time last year. That's partly a result of the fact that if you've been on the subway or the buses or almost anywhere in town, you have seen CUNY ads all over the place. So the CUNY system has invested an enormous amount into advertising. They have also sent admission letters to high school students telling them that they are admitted to a CUNY school, and if you're interested, just click here. So everybody is being told as they graduate from high school that there is a spot at a CUNY college waiting for them. And I think that's really paid off in a big way. For the second year in a row, we have been rated #1 by Degree Choice for return on investment for students. And I think that's had a lot to do with the fact that students are looking at City College very seriously. Degree Choice, as you probably have heard the president talk about, Degree Choice is a relatively new rating agency that has looked into the return on investment of students. So they look at how much it costs them to go through college and how long it takes to pay back that investment when they graduate through their jobs. And City College, for 2 years in a row, has been the #1 school among national universities. Number 2, I might get 2 and 3 backwards. Number 2 is Princeton. Number 3 is MIT. So we're in good company and we're leading the pack. There have been similar studies by the Wall Street Journal and Raz Chetty, who really sort of started this idea of looking at what the return students get from what they spend on college. So there have been, a long stream of good news about City College in particular, but the CUNY system as a whole. I want to turn for a minute to what our faculty do on campus. We are incredibly proud of the faculty we have who do great work. And I'm just going to mention a couple of things. You're going to hear later this evening, I think, about The 5 Demands, a film that was made, and I'm sure that some of you were here at the time, a film that was made about the takeover of City College by Black and Puerto Rican students who were demanding equal access to the college. That's been quite the rage on campus and off campus, and we've shown it I don't know how many times already. If you haven't seen it, it's a wonderful film. It is made by our professor in documentary filmmaking, Andrea Weiss, and her colleague Greta Schiller, and I think there's going to be a shout out to that later. So that's really, if you haven't seen it, it's a wonderful film. I also want to mention one of our English faculty in the MFA program in creative writing, Salar Abdo, who just had a book, and the title of the book is A Nearby Country Called Love. And it was cited by the Washington Post as one of the top 10 books to read in November and December. So we're proud of that. And we just opened, and these are, the deans who are out there are going to think that these are random facts. They are, in fact, random facts, but I know you're waiting for dinner, so I can't tell you all of the things that we're doing. And we just opened a couple of months ago the Moynihan Center, named after Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who spent time as an undergraduate at City College, a center that's designed to train new leaders in public affairs, and we're very proud of that. So and that was funded by, supported by the Leon Levy Foundation and the Moynihan family. So those are just, as I said, random facts. I could go on all evening about the wonderful work that our faculty do. I also want to mention, in general, the faculty who do funded research. We are the flagship campus in the CUNY system for science and engineering, and our faculty in the STEM fields, not just in science and engineering, but everything that's externally funded through the federal government, mostly the federal government. We've seen a 33% increase in expenditures. We tend to measure research grant in terms of how much we spend rather than how much comes in, because what comes in is often over many years. We've seen a 33% increase in research expenditures in this year, and we have a total research expenditure budget in this fiscal year of about 75 with faculty who are doing this cutting-edge research. So I'm pretty proud of what's going on at the college, and I think you would be proud of it. We have a student body that in many, many ways is the same as it was when you were here, and in many, many ways is very different. It's the same in the way that Larry expressed and other people have said of providing an opportunity that otherwise wouldn't be there for students who are mostly still the first in their family, immigrant families, refugees, undocumented students, you name it. Our student body has always had those characteristics. It's now made up of demographically different students than when many of you were here, but those characteristics are the same. With that diversity that we're so proud of come challenges at a time like we're going through now. We have students on all sides of the spectrum who are experiencing the war in Israel and Gaza in very different ways. It's very personal to many of them. This is not new. Many of you were here in other times of stress and trauma, who experienced personally what was going on. I know I was speaking to one alum who talked about coming back from Vietnam and coming to campus. And there was a lot of anti-war sentiment on campus at that time, and that was a stressful moment. So this is not new, but it is a very difficult moment. Things have been pretty calm on campus on the whole. We have had protests. We've had protests on all sides of the issue. The students are passionate. The students who protest are absolutely passionate about what they're protesting, but they've also been peaceful. And so we feel it's important, and I know the president would be saying this to you if he were here, we feel it's important the students have the opportunity to protest. We have no intention of trying to hold them back. There are limits. The limits are that we must protect the safety of our students. And so we do an enormous amount to protect the safety of our students. Most of it is invisible. So our students actually often complain that they feel unsafe, that they're afraid to come to campus, and they don't know the work that goes on behind the scenes to make sure that the campus is safe. And we're an open campus, but we have a team of people that is scrubbing the internet for signs that something may happen on campus. And I will tell you that we find things somewhat regularly. The things that we've found recently are mostly not about Israel and Gaza and Hamas, but people threatening to come and do violence to black students on campus. So there are threats to all people, and it's not new, and we have spent enormous resources on keeping the campus safe. And we feel that our job is to keep the campus safe, but not to prevent the students from protesting, not to prevent the students from saying things that are offensive to other students, and because there is a right to free speech, but there are also limits on free speech. Threatening students is absolutely not allowed, and we will not tolerate it. But students come to us all the time and they say we feel unsafe. And as you talk to them about feeling unsafe, often they feel unsafe because people are expressing ideas that they find offensive. That is part of the education that they need to get at the college. They need to be able to deal with people. Those of you who were here in the days when City College was famous for debates grew up learning to argue a point. These are difficult points. These are not, Trotskyites and other people. These are things that are very personal to these folks. And so it's not easy. And very few of us have been trained to deal with these issues. But we have to protect the freedoms that the students have, that this country stands for and this college stands for. And it's a difficult moment, but the college will get through it. It's not the first time the college has been through a difficult moment. We will get through it. It is what makes City College great, the ability to be at the center of these kinds of very difficult issues and come out the other end stronger and better for it. And we will protect our students, and our students will thrive the way that many of you thrive. The past tense of thrive is not throve. The way that many of you thrived. And we're proud of that, and we're proud of our students. We're proud of all of them. We don't agree with all of them. They don't agree with each other, and that's okay. We're also making sure that our students have access to the resources that they need to get through this very difficult moment. Many of them are mental health resources, but also counseling. We're starting to arrange to have dialogues on campus. There's a program called Sustained Dialogue that was developed by one of the head negotiators in the Camp David Accord as a way of having a dialogue with parties that absolutely are at each other's throats but need to talk to one another. We have people on campus who've been trained already. We're going to be training more. Our student government is invested in participating in this, and we hope that it'll be a really uplifting, maybe uplifting is not the right word, but a very cathartic process for the campus. And we're also doing other things. We have something coming up called Paint and Peace, which is just a moment for people to come into a room and paint and be quiet and think about peace. So the college is doing everything it can to support all of its students, to support all of its faculty and staff, because it's not just the students who are struggling through this. And we will get through it. And we will hopefully be better for it. And now I'm going to stop standing between you and your dinner So thank you for your attention, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Larry, for those meaningful words. And Tony, sorry. And he just dropped my notes and put them out of order. So let me find where I was. Just give me a minute. Okay. I think I found it. Yeah. When I was at City, there was wars, there was homophobia, there was racism, there was slavery, there was ecological catastrophes. And it was here that I learned, don't despair, but if you must despair, work on. And I cannot thank my educators at City College enough. Mention the faculty. I had the privilege of being the student of Elie Wiesel for a year while I was here, before he won the Nobel Peace Prize, one of many Nobel laureates affiliated with this incredible organization. And I remember things were so tough here that I went to his office crying one day saying, how can I have children? I just don't know how to bring children into this world. And Elie said, we need to bring new innocence into this world. The world needs new innocence. And I thank him, and my 3 children thank him for that advice. Okay, so as the first course is being served, a quick reminder to all of you at home that as we make our way through this program, please remember to make your donation to the Alumni Association. This is a fundraiser after all. I know all of you believe in our mission of supporting and engaging alumni and current students while continuing to promote this great college, our alma mater. Please support us tonight with a contribution that is meaningful to you. The Alumni Association is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, so your donations are tax deductible. And remember that the Alumni Association is separate from the City College Foundation. So when you make donations to City College, think about making a separate donation for the Alumni Association, because the Alumni Association is an independent and separate organization. We're alumni supported, alumni directed. Please keep our programs going by donating today. Okay. And if you're in the room and feel moved to make a donation, you could do that by using the QR codes that are on your tables in front of you. And now I'm going to turn to the Townsend Harris Medal presentations. The Townsend Harris Medal is the most coveted of Alumni Achievement Awards. I could tell you that here's my Townsend Harris Medal, and since I graduated 45 years ago from City, I've been recognized in a few ways for my work, but nothing is more meaningful to me than being acknowledged by City College as a distinguished alumni. That is an honor that I feel every day of my life. The Townsend Harris Medal is, of course, named after the founder of City College, Townsend Harris. The medal was established in 1933, 90 years ago, by a gift from the class of 2006. The Townsend Harris Medals are awarded each year at this event to alumni who have performed outstanding postgraduate achievement in their fields, in their work. Candidates for this coveted award are nominated by fellow alumni and college community members, and the medalists are selected by a special committee comprised of former recipients of the medal, and projected awardees are approved, final approval by the Alumni Association Board of Directors. And our first alumni recipient that I'm going to call out this evening is Dr. Joseph Abate.
Joseph Abate was born and raised in Ozone Park, Queens. the youngest child of Italian immigrants and the first born in this country. After graduating from City College in 1961, Joe went on to earn a PhD from New York University's prestigious Courant Institute in 1967. He then began working at Computer Applications Incorporated, a software firm engaged in the emerging field of online systems. While there, Joe co-created Ticketron, the precursor to Ticketmaster. In the early 1970s, Joseph Abate moved to Bell Laboratories, where he published influential articles in various areas of applied math. Dr. Abate's groundbreaking accomplishments are still to this day invaluable contributions that help to move projects forward and have changed the way people attend concerts.
I am honored to accept the Townsend Harris Medal on behalf of my father, Dr. Joseph Abate, who is himself honored to be receiving this prestigious distinction from City College. Joe was born and raised in Ozone Park, Queens, the youngest child of Italian immigrants and the first born in this country. His parents, Carmela and Giuseppe, made it clear that he was expected to go to college like his brother before him. City College afforded Joe the extraordinary and life-changing opportunity to enter a world of intellectuals and at the only price he could afford, free. When Joe arrived at the gorgeous neo-Gothic North Campus of City College in 1957, he made the pleasant discovery that many of his classmates were either the children of immigrants or the grandchildren of immigrants. It was quite a journey to get to class each day. Joe boarded the A train out in Ozone Park, Queens at Rockaway Boulevard and got off almost an hour later at 145th Street. But when he walked onto the scenic campus, replete with terracotta trim and gargoyles guarding the edifices, he knew he had taken a trip that extended much further than beyond the borders of his outer borough. Of course, once enrolled, Joe eagerly pursued physics since, like so many other men in the late 1950s, he was caught up in the talk of space exploration as was the fashion. And yes, while at CCNY, he joined the service club Sigma Alpha, even rising to become its vice chancellor before he graduated. But it was the quotidian interactions that Joe would constantly recall throughout my childhood. He once told me and my brother about the unexpected turn a lecture took one day, for example, when a professor delivered not the talk posted on the syllabus, but instead went off script and instructed the class on how to fold a letter properly when stuffing it into an envelope. Perhaps to some, this sounds mundane and pedestrian, but for my father, and no doubt many of the first-generation kids sitting with him in that vast lecture hall, it indicated a level of understanding as to just who was sitting in those chairs past the lectern and how much they would benefit from learning some life skills along with their academic pursuits. As Joe said, quote, "At CCNY, I discovered scholars, not just teachers, and it opened up a new dimension to my education." Joe went on to earn a PhD in physics at the Courant Institute at New York University, and soon after graduating, accepted a job that introduced him to Harvey Dubner. Together, they developed the Ticketron system, which is the precursor to today's online ticketing monolith, Ticketmaster. My father claims that he stands on the shoulders of those who came before. I would add that it is only because of City College and the extraordinary access to education it has provided for generations of poor city kids that my father had the opportunity to stand on any shoulders in the first place and develop breakthroughs in applied math that, with the advent of inventing the first online ticketing system, literally changed how the world attends concerts. Not bad for a kid from Ozone Park whose last name ends in a vowel. I join my father, Dr. Joseph Abate, in thanking the CCNY Alumni Association for this incredible honor. Thank you.
In you, Joseph Abate, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
I think you're here. Yep. How many times have we heard first in our family, first in a generation to go to college? What a affirmation of the original intention of this great institution. Our next Townsend Harris medalist is Bernard Adler, class of '62.
Bernard Adler, P.E., has dedicated over 60 years to the profession of transportation planning and traffic engineering. He graduated from the City College School of Engineering in 1962. In 1979, Mr. Adler was appointed Commissioner of Traffic for the city of White Plains, where he managed the design, installation, maintenance, and operation of all traffic devices. He implemented many innovative programs, including New York State's first computerized network traffic control system, as well as energy conservation programs. In 1991, Mr. Adler founded Adler Consulting Transportation Planning and Traffic Engineering. He served the public and private sectors and appeared before governmental agencies supporting the conclusions of studies conducted by the firm. Mr. Adler is currently part of Labella Associates, where he is a senior transportation consultant. After having been a fellow at the Institute of Transportation Engineers, Mr. Adler held office for the Institute's section of New York, New Jersey in many capacities. He also has held the offices of President, Vice President, Treasurer, and Secretary of the City College of New York's Engineering School Alumni. He is the recipient of many awards, among them the Alumni Service Award from the City College of New York Alumni Association.
Thank you to the Alumni Association for honoring me with the Townsend Harris Medal. This honor is a culmination of many years of work and involvement in professional organizations throughout my career. Thank you to Denise Peters Mendez for nominating me, and to my wife Lona and my 4 children for their continued support over these many years. I would also like to thank Perry Schwartz, Alav Shalom, my classmate and former president of the Engineering School Alumni, for bringing me back to City College and allowing me to serve the school to which I owe so much. My history at City is very straightforward and, as my father would say, a cute story. In my senior year in high school, as I deliberated applying to colleges, my father approached me and asked me what my thoughts were for my future. He then said, "I understand you're very good in science and math." After I affirmed that, he said, "I understand that engineering uses those fields." I didn't really know what an engineer did, but I recognized that an engineer uses those disciplines, so I told him that it was a possibility. He then continued that he understood that City College was considered the Harvard of the working person. I told him that I understood that as well. He then said that he understood that City College had an excellent engineering school. I answered that I knew that as well. He then said, "I'm also aware that City College is free." After I affirmed that, he said, "I think you're going to City." And that was that. There were no further thoughts on applications to other colleges. The next September, I entered City College. I remember orientation for the engineering school, where the person leading the discussion told us to person to your rear and the person to your left. "Please be aware," he continued, "only one of those people are going to graduate as an engineer." Knowing the high standard for admission at the time, everyone in the audience gasped. It turned out to be true, however, with many smart students changing their major to the sciences and arts. The City College of Engineering provided a challenging curriculum in an environment of academic rigor. I sweated my first year with concurrent courses in physics, chemistry, math, engineering drawing, and a course in social sciences on South Campus, the hardest for me being engineering drawing. After 4.5 years, I graduated with a degree in electrical engineering, but still did not know what an engineer did. After graduation, I was hired by Airborne Instruments Labs in Melville, New York, and was assigned to their transportation division, where I focused on aviation landing systems and then onto the burgeoning field of surface-based transportation. We did groundbreaking studies on the driving task for the Transportation Research Board and the Federal Highway Administration. I went on to receive 2 master's degrees from Polytechnic Institute of Brooklyn and Long Island University. I also became a professional engineer licensed to provide these services in 3 states. I continued my career in surface transportation, eventually becoming the Commissioner of Traffic for the City of White Plains, New York. After almost 10 productive years in White Plains, the mayor, himself an engineer, suggested I look elsewhere to advance myself. Taking a leap of faith, I started my own engineering consulting firm, which continued for almost 30 years. I was an active member in the Institute of Transportation Engineers, the Society of the Transportation Professional, where I served on numerous committees, eventually serving as president of the Metropolitan Section of New York and New Jersey, as well as on its International Board of Direction. During that time, I also served on the board and as president of the Engineering School Alumni of City College. I now know what an engineer can do in creating the greater good for society. City College gave me the foundational knowledge through the many pre-engineering and core engineering courses. I am grateful to City College, which fostered an academic setting of rigor and high standards. I was fortunate enough to receive many accolades from work and the Institute of Transportation Engineers, but one that I treasure dearly is the Townsend Harris Medal. With sincere gratitude, thank you.
In you, Bernard Adler, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
And 3 children, Nicole, Erica, and Sasha, and their sweethearts. Say hello. Okay, our next Townsend Harris medalist is Dr. Tracy Burgess, class of '89.
Dr. Tracy Burgess graduated from the City College Sophie Davis School of Biomedical Education in 1989. She graduated from medical school at SUNY Downstate in Brooklyn in 1991 and trained at Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center for her residency in obstetrics and gynecology. While a fellow in maternal fetal medicine at Columbia University, she simultaneously pursued a master's in public health. Post-training, she worked in Brooklyn at Maimonides Medical Center for 15 years, serving a very diverse population, teaching and training medical students and residents, as well as being very involved with administrative and health policy aspects of medicine. At Maimonides, she developed an interest in patient safety and completed a patient safety fellowship. She is very involved with the National Medical Association, the oldest and largest organization representing African American physicians and their patients, and a leading voice for the elimination of health disparities. Since 2011, she has been working in New Jersey at the Valley Hospital, where she is Director of Perinatology and the Center for Maternal Fetal Medicine. While Dr. Burgess finds work fulfilling, her most important job is being a mother to her young son, whom she loves dearly and who unknowingly has become her muse.
Good evening. I am Dr. Tracy Burgess, a graduate of the City College of New York in 1989 from the Sophie Davis School of Biomedical Education. I am extremely honored and humbled to receive this award. I am very proud to be in the company of my fellow awardees, and I congratulate them all. I was speechless when I received the letter. I was aware of the amazing accomplishments and pioneering work of other recipients, and it immediately made me think, is there another Tracy Burgess graduate of CCNY? As I reflect, I first came to this campus as a 16-year-old graduate from the Bronx High School of Science. I desired to be a physician. I had the most wonderful pediatrician. He was a black man with a big smile and a resounding laugh, and he and my family believed in me. Once in the Sophie Davis program, I felt I could achieve it. Surrounded by wonderful classmates, many of whom are still friends to this day, we worked and played, and my Sophie Davis crew became physicians. So I come to you as a humble doctor. As a doctor, I'm both a student and an educator. I want to thank my professors and mentors, and I also want to thank my patients who are my teachers. It is with the deepest of sincerity that I acknowledge the privilege of being a physician. I am grateful for the daily opportunity to learn, and I'm thankful for those who shape my experience. And what my experience has taught me is that representation matters. Diversity is essential. We must face the truth of our history, and I learned these things at CCNY, and it resonates today. We cannot be a healthy society when we overlook those that are disenfranchised. We cannot be a healthy society when we get desensitized to alternate facts and we ban diversity of thought. We must strive in our society to try to tackle those social determinants that lead to disease and dis-ease. So I speak to you today as just a physician, as an obstetrician gynecologist. My every action has to do with reproductive freedom and social justice. I am just someone who sees patients and counsels about health advocacy. As I thought about receiving this award, I briefly felt overshadowed by celebrities and ceiling breakers. But then I was reminded that every patient encounter and every interaction I have with my coworkers and community counts. Every act of kindness counts. Every time we speak up and speak out, it counts. That's how you blaze a path or put a chink in a ceiling. We must know that small acts can lead to a big revolution. So I come before you as a humbled physician receiving a prestigious award. So as I close, I have encountered angels along my path. There are too many to name, but tonight I want to recognize Dr. Roger Pagan, who taught me while I was at CCNY, and two very special individuals, Elaine and Ellen Golding. I met the Golding sisters about 25 years ago at a Bronx Science CCNY alumni event, and we have been friends ever since, and I'm thankful for that friendship. I neither have enough words nor time to truly thank my family, but I simply have the best parents, siblings, child, aunt, brother-in-law, nieces, nephews, and cousins. The prescription I write for us tonight is a double dose of action. Let us not be indifferent to what's going on in our society. Let's recognize that small actions can lead to a revolution in our lives, the lives of our friends, in our community. So in closing, I wish you all health and wellness, abundance of peace, and joy in your heart. It's with every well wish, I wish you a good night. Thank you. Thank you.
In you, Dr. Tracy Burgess, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
So smart, so inspiring. Tracy's here tonight with many members of her immediate family and her extended family, which include, listen to this, twin sisters and Townsend Harris medalists, Ellen and Elaine Golding, who have a special message for Tracy tonight. Can we play their video?
Good evening. I am Cleonis Ellen Golding, twin A, and I am Constance Elaine Golding, twin B, both deeply honored and delighted to have been 2022 Townsend Harris medalists. It is our distinct privilege and pleasure to congratulate Dr. Tracy Burgess, 2023 Townsend Harris medalist, our outstanding nominee, physician, leader, obstetrician, gynecologist. Congratulations also to all other 2023 Townsend Harris medalists, as well as 2023 John H. Finley honorees. The legendary David R. Jones, Esquire, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Community Service Society and the Community Service Society. Please enjoy the evening. Thank you for coming.
That's beautiful. Tracy, congratulations. Dr. Burgess, please join me in congratulating Dr. Burgess. Okay, we're going to have one more medalist while the caterers are clearing the first course, and then I'm going to we'll take a little break. So, but before we take that break, our next medalist is Albert De Leon, class of '72.
Albert V. De Leon is a legal and compliance consultant for leading financial services institutions. Mr. De Leon received his BA from the City College in 1972, where he was the editor of the student publication The Paper and a member of CCNY's Division I baseball team. He earned his JD at the University of San Diego School of Law, where he was regional director of the Black American Law Students Association. During his career, Mr. De Leon has advised companies on U.S. legal, regulatory, and corporate strategy. His expertise covers bank and insurance regulatory and compliance matters, particularly in the areas of financial crime, ethics, and corporate governance matters. He worked for Zurich North America, for the French-Belgian bank Dexia Credit, and for the Swedish bank Skandinaviska Enskilda Banken in New York. After his work with the IRS in Washington, D.C., Mr. De Leon started his banking career with National Westminster Bancorp, Inc., now Bank of America, where, as vice president and counsel, he managed the Financial Crimes Program. Mr. De Leon is admitted to the New York Bar, the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Southern and Eastern District Courts of New York. He has served on the boards of Newark Public Radio and Harlem Dowling West Side Center for Children and Family Services, among others, and currently serves on the board of the National Jazz Museum in Harlem.
I am honored to be the recipient of the Townsend Harris Medal and to have my name listed among other outstanding CCNY recipients like Jonas Salk. I had polio as a child, so that resonates, and Colin Powell, among other luminaries. I arrived in New York City in June 1966 to the city's heat, horns, and sirens, sounds that reminded me of the Lovin' Spoonful's hit song, Summer in the City. I had just graduated from Vallejo High School in Northern California. My arrival felt like both a welcome and an awakening. Little did I know what my future held in store. I enrolled in CCNY as a night student in 1967, knowing nothing about our historic school. During a history class in the fall of 1970, someone mentioned The Paper. The first formal edition of The Paper had just been published, and at the end of the class, I heard several classmates discussing, quote, the arrogance of the students naming their newspaper The Paper. I knew then that I had to become part of that group. Until that point, I was just another student on campus trying to get a good education. After class, I immediately went to the paper's second floor office in Finley Hall to join and was welcomed by Luis Reyes Rivera, the dynamic editor and founder of the newspaper. In 1971, I became co-editor-in-chief with Judon Ford, who is still a very good friend. While I was not part of the 1969 student takeover of City, three of the paper's founders, Paul Sims, Francie Covington, and Louis Rivera, were leaders in that takeover, one result of which was the engineering newspaper Tech News becoming the paper. I relish being in the company of a collective of smart and talented writers, editors, photographers, and poets during those turbulent years. We had a staff of more than 30 students and ran the newspaper like a real business. In addition to normal student college issues, we also wrote about local, national, and international news like Vietnam War, civil rights, Black Power movements, and the need to admit more Blacks and Latino students. With its broad focus, the paper became a leading and quality college newspaper. For example, we published an article on the real truth behind the Attica uprising before the New York Times. We had an outstanding faculty with political science professors like Ivo Dukacek, Hans Morgenthau, Thomas Karras, who sparked my interest in law, Judith Stein, Paul Rubens, philosophy professors Martin Tamney, Katie Irani, and my speech and debate professor, Herman Reddish. I also pitched for the baseball team in my senior year. Our coach was Del Bethel, and he took the team in our brand new Yankee-like pinstripe uniforms on a bus trip to Florida for spring training and the newly opened Disney World. He called me a rookie senior. That same year, Coach Bethel became a consultant to the critically acclaimed baseball buddy movie, Bang the Drum Slowly. He arranged to have some of the team hired as extras, even though I sometimes joke that I co-starred with a young Robert De Niro and Michael Moriarty. After graduation, I studied international relations in the CUNY Graduate School, and in 1973 started studying law at the University of San Diego Law School. In 2007, the original founding members of the paper held a special reunion at the NAC Faculty Lounge to reflect on what we accomplished during our college and post-college years, and what CCNY and the paper meant to us. That gathering sparked the idea to endow a scholarship fund in the name of our newspaper called the Paper Scholarship for Social Justice, and a project in which former staffers wrote essays reflecting on what city and the paper meant to them. Some of these excellently written essays were recently published in the Alumnus magazine and City Beat magazine. I want to thank President Boudreau, Didi Modzelewski, and archivist Sidney Van Noort for their assistance in helping to digitize old issues of the paper and Tech News, and last but not least, my longtime newspaper colleagues who worked to establish and endow the scholarship fund. We're now encouraging younger paper staffers to carry on the work and traditions we started. I treasure the top quality education I received and friends I developed at CCNY, and to experience things I might not have had I gone to another college. Going to CCNY and being a member of the paper transformed me from feeling like an outsider from California to becoming a vital part of New York City. In addition, and most importantly, I met my lovely, darling wife, Lauren Adams, here in New York. It has been a true New York experience. Thank you, CCNY, the paper, and New York City.
In you, Albert de Leon, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Tonight with his wife Lauren, his niece Monica, and grandniece Grace. Join me? Yep. Okay. So thanks for your patience and your attention. We've worked our way through the first half of the Townsend Harris Medal presentations. We're now going to take a short break and allow our caterers, Sterling Affair Caterers and Events, to serve dinner. And for those of you at home, we invite you to grab a refill, order takeout, cook something, stretch. We'll see you back in a few minutes. While the Sterling Affair Caterer team brings us dinner, I'd like to invite three-time alumnus William Gotti, alumnus 81, 82, 84, to the stage. Bill was recently awarded the Alumni Association's Service Medal, and in addition to being a renowned architect, he is an accomplished pianist. Tonight, he'll be performing How High the Moon by Nancy Hamilton and Morgan Lewis, And we'll follow that with Now's the Time by Charlie Parker. Bill, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Bill Gotti. Thank you for your performance. Thank you for sharing your talents with us tonight. Please continue to enjoy your food. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to continue with our program. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is David Covington. I have the honor of serving as the Executive Director of the Alumni Association. Thank you. I just wanted to give Alan a few more minutes, too, of rest before he resumes his host duties. 52 pages, Alan? When I printed it, it was only 30 pages, so what size font was that? Here's a few announcements for us as we proceed. Earlier this year, over the summer, the Alumni Association sponsored a showing of the documentary film, The Five Demands. Actually, it was two showings. One was downtown at Firehouse Cinema, and the other was up here at Aaron Davis Hall. The Five Demands is a stunning film that revisits the untold story of the student takeover of City College in April of 1969. It was produced and directed by two-time alumna Greta Schiller. She had a BFA in 1978 and a Master's in Education in 2002. And her wife, Andrea Weiss, a professor of film at City College, where she co-directs the MFA program in film and is the founding director of the Documentary Forum. And the executive producer of that film was the award-winning filmmaker Stanley Nelson, also an alumnus, class of 1976. Now, tonight we don't have time to play the whole film, but we do have a trailer. And if the tech team could cue that up for us, I hope you enjoy.
The first thing that struck me, coming through Harlem, surrounded by Harlemites, my folks, and then entering the college and finding there weren't any of my folks.
We had to have a strategy on how to open the doors for more people like us.
Black and Puerto Rican students chained the gates to City College of New York, closing it.
We shall be free, yeah. We shall be free. Everybody gonna get together and walk like you and me. We shall be free, yeah. We shall be free.
So power to the people, power.
You can catch the next screening presented by the Documentary Forum and the City College Black Studies program next week for free on Wednesday, November 15th, here in Shepherd Hall, room 291, so here in the City College campus. In case you're eating right now and you don't have a pen, don't worry. All of this information is on the City College Alumni Association website, which, by the way, is ccnyalumni.org. Also coming up, on December 5th, the Alumni Association joins the Office of Institutional Advancement and Communications and External Relations to host a book talk with Ronnie Jane Goldsmith, who is here tonight. Ronnie Jane, please stand and be recognized. Ronnie Jane's book, CCNY Made Profiles in Grit, is the story, or rather a series of stories, of CCNY alumni who beat the odds to reach the pinnacle of their professions and in the process transform the world. It's a wonderful book. I have the privilege of reading it, and for those of you in the room, You don't have to take my word for it. You can find out for yourself because Ronnie Jane has generously offered to provide one copy and sign it for everybody in the room for free. Thank you, Ronnie Jane, very much for that. And to get your book, please just visit our alumni store in the back of the Great Hall, just off to, I'm facing your right, my left, where we have a free book waiting for you and some other wares too for sale, hats, shirts, and mugs. And for those of you online, we do have a limited supply of items available for your donation at our alumni store. Thank you, Ronnie Jane, for your generosity, and we all look forward to your book talk on the 5th. It's now my pleasure to welcome back to the stage our incomparable host, Alan Hershkowitz.
Ooh, those lights. Lights are even more intense after a glass of wine. Okay, thank you, David. I now have the privilege of acknowledging the recipients of the Alumni Association scholarships. All Alumni Association recipients, as well as the donors, are listed in your program. Many of the scholars are with us tonight in person and online. For the scholarship recipients in the room, at this time, I would like you all to come up to the stage to be acknowledged. Come on up. Come on, scholars, come on up. And while come on up. Okay. The alumni, hello everybody. Congratulations to all of you. Good job, good job. The Alumni Association has a mission that is threefold: to engage alumni, support current students, and promote the college and its mission and its interests. When we talk about supporting our students, I want to acknowledge the Alumni Association's various mentoring programs. I am part of the mentoring program, and I have to tell you, it is one of the most meaningful things I've ever done in my career. It is such a joy and meaningful experience to help mentor City College grads and current students on their career. Sometimes it's just simply about dollars and cents, yep. And these scholarships help students accomplish their goal of attending the college. So now, speaking in behalf of the scholarship recipients, I'd like to welcome to the podium Keith Arias, a recipient of the Lucy Gordon Scholarship.
Good evening, everyone. So I just want to say it's a true honor to receive the Lucy Gordon Award. City College has provided me with the opportunity to develop young minds of children, giving special education students the equitable environment to thrive. And I was a part of the 35th cohort of the New York Teaching Fellows, and I just graduated a couple of months ago. Thank you. And I'm a first generation, thank you. I'm a first generation Dominican born in the United States, and New York has always been my home. You know, I had the opportunity to teach in Queens, where, you know, there's a lot of need for Latino figures, so to speak. And I think it's a real privilege to teach them, okay? So I just want to say thank you, and I dedicate this award to my mother, who just passed away. Thank you.
Larry, can you come up? We're going to take a photo. Just bear with us. I'm going to take a photo, which I am honored to be in. Okay, one day you guys will be up here doing this. So another plug for the mentorship program. The association has expanded its reach, supporting current students and young alumni through mentorship. This has led to the City Tutors, City Mentors program. By the way, that Mentors program has expanded beyond City College, throughout the City University, and in fact, to help students in other universities as well. It's become one of a spectacularly valuable initiative. And if you're interested in establishing a scholarship or supporting a scholarship or becoming a mentor, please contact David Covington or one of the association staff members here tonight. And I think we're going to see a video, and then I'm going to resume giving out the awards. Maybe we're not going to see a video. Okay. We're not going to see a video. We're going to go right to the awards. The next Townsend Harris Medalist Awardee is the incomparable Vivian Gornick.
Vivian Gornick was born into an immigrant working-class family and was raised in the Bronx. After graduating from City College in 1957, Vivian began her professional career as a staff writer for the Village Voice, where she wrote about books, culture at large, and increasingly about the burgeoning feminist movement. During these years, Vivian Gornick discovered her affinity for nonfiction writing and has since excelled in writing essays, memoirs, and literary criticism. Among her best-known works are the memoir Fierce Attachments and the essay collections The End of the Novel of Love and Unfinished Business. She has traveled widely and lived abroad as well as in the American West and Southwest, but New York is the only place in the world where she feels at home.
As thousands before me have said, for us it was City College or nothing. I enjoyed the solidarity those words invoked, but rejected the implied deprivation. From first day to last, I felt privileged to be a student at City, privileged and profoundly at home. It was not from the faculty that City drew its reputation for intellectual goodness. It was from its students. It was from us. Not that we were intellectually distinguished, we weren't, but our hungry energy vitalized the place. Most of us had been reading in bottled up silence from the age of 6 on, and City College was our great release. At City, I sat talking in a basement cafeteria until 10 or 11 at night with a half dozen others who also never wanted to go home to Brooklyn or the Bronx. And here in the cafeteria, my education took root. Here I learned that Faulkner was America, Dickens was politics, Marx was sex, that I came from a ghetto, and D.H. Lawrence was a visionary. Here my love of literature named itself, and the spiritual value of thought, sheer thought, blossomed. I discovered that people were transformed by ideas, and that intellectual conversation was immensely erotic. While we pursued the life of the mind, we felt known to ourselves and to one another. The world made sense. There was ground beneath our feet, a place in the universe to stand. City College made conscious in me inner coherence as a first value. I wrote these words some 40-odd years ago, and I was talking then about undergraduate life as I knew it at CCNY in the 1950s. Now I am proposing to write a book about that time in that place, again, as I knew it, which means that, like Montaigne, rightly or wrongly, I am going to assume that what was in me was in many others. Who were we? Where did we come from? What did we look like? Trudging up Convent Avenue, sitting obediently in class, arguing madly as soon as the bell rang. We were the children of tailors, shopkeepers, factory workers, accountants, bakers, dress cutters, clerks, milkmen, bus drivers. Our shoes were scuffed, our clothes came from chain stores, our haircuts from neighborhood beauty parlors. And what did we know of the world? Nothing. At the same time, how many of us were wise beyond our years? One afternoon, during an English lit class, a number of us were buzzing about a boy sitting in the back of the room who looked nothing like us. He was slim and good-looking, his hair a work of art. And he was wearing a navy blue sweater. The wool was thin. It lay beautifully flat on his chest, and I thought he was French. The girl in front of me twisted around in her seat and whispered, "He's from Bard." The girl on my left said, "Where's that?" The girl on my right said, "What's that?" But when the teacher asked us why Isabel Archer went back to Gilbert Osmond at the end of Portrait of a Lady, and a number of students, in perfect imitation of Henry James, called out that morally speaking it was the right thing to do, it was the girl on my right who said, "She's afraid of herself." And there you had City College, unworldliness trumped by the insights of lived experience. Throughout the school's history, lived experience had held pride of place, and I dare say still does. Not so many years ago, I was told that a literary critic who had taught at 2 posh schools and then at City College said, "At Chicago, all they wanted to know was, what's the theory? At Yale, all they wanted to know was, what's the technique? At City, all they wanted to know was, how does this relate to real life?"
In you, Vivian Gornick, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Tonight, please join me. She's with her niece, Janet, and please join me in congratulating Vivian. I'll tell you, like all of you, I'm incredibly proud of being affiliated with the faculty and alum of City College, but to be here bestowing the Townsend Harris Medal on Vivian Gornick, I mean, a humanitarian force of nature, it's really, really something special for me to do. Thank you for this opportunity. Our next Townsend Harris medalist is Dr. Eric Poon.
Dr. Eric Poon came to New York in 1970 at the age of 20. He worked in restaurants during lunch hour and attended City College in the evening. After graduating from CCNY in 1976, having majored in chemistry, he went to Mexico and studied medicine at Universidad La Salle. After a residency in pediatrics at Long Island College Hospital, he went on to finish a fellowship in pediatric cardiology at New York Hospital Weill Cornell University Medical College. Dr. Eric Poon has worked both in hospitals' academic medicine and in private practice within the Chinese community. Dr. Poon was chief of pediatrics at the New York Downtown Hospital from 1992 to 2013. After observing that Chinese immigrants do not often go to the hospital or doctors, Dr. Poon, along with a group of colleagues, initiated the Chinese Community Partnership Program. with the mission to bring the hospital to the community. The Chinese Community Partnership Program has served over 200,000 patients over the past 30 years and has had a notable impact, decreasing morbidity and mortality related to diabetes, strokes, and heart attacks within communities.
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, I am honored and privileged to accept this prestigious award from CCNY Alumni Association. I came to New York in September of 1970 at the age of 20 years old. The only choice for me was City University of New York, City College of New York, as I was staying with my sister in a project housing in Manhattan. The City College was then known as the Harvard for the Poor. It had an open door policy and only cost me $68 for registration each semester. I worked in a restaurant in downtown in lunch hours and went to school in the evenings. My passage to medicine was not easy and straightforward. It took me almost 6 years to finish my medical education. This city and this country gave me an opportunity to achieve my goal. I realized that if I work hard enough and determined enough, everything could be achievable. I had the opportunity to work in academic setting at New York Downtown Hospital, also in a private practice in the community. I met a few community leaders in the Chinese communities and a few colleagues. And in 1993, we started the Chinese Community Partnership for Health program. Back then, there were more than 500 garment factories in Chinatown. The garment factory workers had good health insurance from ILGW 2325 union. But the majorities of the workers did not care about preventive care and health maintenance. They were afraid to see doctors and for sure not to go to the hospitals until the last minute. The mortality in stroke and heart attack was high in the community. CCPH initiated health screenings, health fairs, lectures in churches, community centers, and factories to urge them to take care of the bodies before any irreversible damage happened. In the past 30 years, we have served over 200,000 patient visits. I remember President John F. Kennedy said, "Ask not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." I cannot do everything myself, but I sure want to continue to serve and change one community at one time. Thank you.
In you, Dr. Eric Poon, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Here tonight with several members of his family, Annie, Matthew, Kem Chian, and Andrew. Want to acknowledge. Okay. Boy, this is a great gig, actually. It's really inspiring. Okay, our last but certainly not least, 2023 Townsend Harris medalist is Joblin Younger.
Joblin C. Younger, Esquire, LLM, a native of Massachusetts, graduated magna cum laude from the City College in 2005. While at CCNY, Attorney Younger was a mentor in the CCNY Mentor Program and a fellow of the D'Agostino Greenberg Program, Colin Powell Center, and Rosenberg Humphrey Program. He interned on Capitol Hill for Representative Charles Rangel and earned the Kupferman Juvenile Justice Award. He started law school and engaged in the community with several LGBTQIA+ organizations. He attended the Boston University School of Law and earned his LLM in taxation. His LGBTQIA+ engagement included service with Fenway Community Health Center Incorporated and AIDS Action Committee, where he served as board clerk and chair of the Audit Committee. At the Massachusetts Bar Association, he served for many years on its Probate Council, Amicus Curiae, and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion committees. He frequently lectures for the association, the Boston Tax Institute, and Massachusetts Black Lawyers Association, among others. Attorney Younger maintains his own private practice specializing in trusts and estates, and is licensed in Massachusetts, New York, the Supreme Court of the United States, the United States Tax Court, and the United States District Court for Massachusetts.
First, I'd like to thank the Alumni Association for this incredible honor. I grew up north of Boston in a mostly affluent and homogeneous community, although I was different. So in my early 20s, I found myself in New York City, surrounded by my tribe, but without direction. So I went to City College, seeking that direction and opportunity. The application was easy. Although tuition wasn't free, it was incredibly affordable with my own earnings. What affected me the most at City College were the professors. Just to name a few, John Krinsky, Michael Paris, Vincent Boudreau, Andrew Rich, and Kevin Foster. You each changed my perspective, you challenged me, and you shaped my life. At the time I entered City College, at the ripe old age of 21, I reflected that I had wasted precious time in my life. So I dove into my studies with a strong work ethic. I was fortunate to participate in several fellowships that deeply affected me, especially the then Colin Powell program. In my last year at City College, I was exposed broadly to political science in New York City for a state senator, in Washington, D.C. for U.S. Representative Charlie Rangel, and in Boston at the Democratic National Convention. Each of those were formative experiences for me, and I utilized the countless lessons learned there in everything I do every day. After City College, with those formative experiences, I committed to spend my time wisely, working in a profession that is personally rewarding and giving back to the legal and LGBTQ+ communities. I've hosted countless fundraisers, served on boards of directors, clerked at the appeals court, and I've been honored by gubernatorial and judicial appointments. My experiences at City College continue to drive me today, as I'm sure they do for all of you. I distilled those experiences in principles of a good life: hard work, family, including chosen family, lifelong continuing education, and the fight for social justice. As my grandmother says, remember to not only do your best, but be your best. Thank you for this recognition.
In you, Joblin Younger, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Joblin is here tonight with his husband, R. Mitchell Thomas. I want to acknowledge you. Thank you for being here tonight. Congratulations. Okay, so to all of the Townsend Harris medalists, congratulations. I could tell you from personal experience, this is one of the more meaningful awards that you will get in your life. This award has a very special place in my office. We all applaud you, and we acknowledge your outstanding humanitarian and professional achievements. Just as a reminder, as you enjoy your dessert or avoid it, that the Townsend Harris medalist candidates are selected from nominations presented by a special committee of the former recipients of the Townsend Harris Medal and approved by the Alumni Association Board of Directors. If you want to nominate someone for the award, please submit a cover letter of no more than 5 pages to the Townsend Harris Medal Committee, care of David Covington. And for more information on this award and to view past recipients, please visit the association website, ccnyalumni.org, which you all know. Okay, and now it's time for the Finley Award. Okay. As the 3rd president of City College, John H. Finley championed the concept of dedicated service to the community as the first principle of good citizenship. The Alumni Association is very proud to present its 76th John H. Finley Award to David R. Jones, the CEO and president of the Community Services Society in New York City.
David R. Jones, Esquire, is President and Chief Executive Officer of the Community Service Society of New York, a nonpartisan, not-for-profit organization that promotes economic advancement and full civic participation for low-income New Yorkers. David Jones was born in the Bedford-Stuyvesant community of Brooklyn. He is the son of the late State Assembly member and Judge Thomas R. Jones. While receiving his Bachelor of Arts degree from Wesleyan University, Mr. Jones interned for Senator Robert F. Kennedy in Washington, D.C. Mr. Jones was a recipient of the Thomas J. Watson Fellowship and received a Juris Doctor degree from the Yale Law School in 1974. Mr. Jones is a member of the New York State and federal bars. Prior to his public service career, he specialized in corporate antitrust cases and contract litigation at the law firm of Cravath, Swaine & Moore. From 1979 to 1983, he was special advisor to Mayor Ed Koch, with responsibilities in race relations, urban development, immigration reform, and education. Mr. Jones started his nonprofit career serving as executive director of the New York City Youth Bureau. In 1986, he joined the Community Service Society of New York. As an outspoken advocate for low-income New Yorkers, Mr. Jones is a highly respected city leader on issues of urban poverty and economic advancement. He writes a bi-weekly newspaper column in the New York Amsterdam News called The Urban Agenda that serves to educate the public and government officials on issues of importance to minority and underserved communities. He has served on transition committees for former New York City mayors Bill de Blasio and Michael Bloomberg, and former New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. Mr. Jones was on the board of Carver Federal Savings Bank, the largest African-American managed bank in the nation, and on the board of trustees of Wesleyan University, among others. Mr. Jones is a founding member of the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, and for 7 years was president of Black Agency Executives, a group of black leaders of major New York City human service agencies. Among Mr. Jones's many awards is an honorary doctorate of humane letters from the City University of New York.
Accepting the award on behalf of David Jones is the Vice President of the Community Service Society, Mr. Jeff Macklin. Jeff, come on up.
Good evening. and thank you. It's a real honor to be here and to be part of tonight's tributes. My congratulations to all the medalists honored this evening, and my thanks to the Alumni Association and to David Covington for inviting me to speak on behalf of David and the Community Service Society. So unfortunately, David couldn't be here tonight, and he sends his regrets. He's attending the Somos Conference, and for those of you who don't know what the Somos Conference is, it's a yearly gathering of New York's political movers and shakers and power brokers and influencers and elected officials and government officials, business leaders, making deals, and congregating in San Juan, Puerto Rico. San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's a tough job being a CEO. Actually, tonight is a bit of a deja vu moment for me because it was about a year ago that I was representing David at another event. He was being honored by the New York Landmarks Conservancy Gala, and he was one of the recipients of the organization's Living Legends Award. And he could not be there in person to accept the award because he was at Somos. So I'm beginning to think that repping David at these events is going to be part of my job description. And I'm pretty sure that about this time next year, there'll be some organization that's going to want to honor David because of his many contributions. And so it's a good bet that yours truly will be there repping David at that event, and it's really a privilege to do so. Because David is one of those rare individuals who, over his distinguished career in government and the nonprofit sector, has truly dedicated himself to empowering those who are powerless. For years, he's worked tirelessly to ensure that our political leaders, policymakers, stakeholders, and the press know the issues many of our city's most vulnerable citizens deal with every day. He does it with humility, compassion, credibility, and every now and again, a dose of outrage. He has used his own voice, his legal skills, and his deep understanding of how this city works to ensure that the unheard third of New York is not voiceless. His goal has always been to make New York a better place to live for all citizens. Now, when he was a Brooklyn City Council member, Bill de Blasio was quoted in a City and State article entitled, "David Jones and the Never-Ending Crusade." And in the article, he said this, quote, "I think he is one of the consciences of our city. He's had a huge impact on policy and also on direct service to people in need," end quote. Of course, as we all know, Mr. de Blasio would go on to be elected mayor, the 109th mayor to be precise, in 2013, campaigning on a policy of addressing inequities in the city and leveling the playing field for New York's most vulnerable residents. And he did something else. He nominated David to serve on the MTA board. Now, David told the mayor at the time, "What you're getting is someone who's going to be an advocate for low-income New Yorkers, an advocate for expanding affordability and accessibility for the city's working poor." Now, I'm sure Bill, and I can call him Bill because I worked with him in the Dinkins administration, I'm sure Bill did not anticipate that David would emerge as one of his fiercest critics, which he did. And that had everything to do with David's belief that the mayor was not living up to the expectations he has set as a candidate. In particular, the mayor dragged his feet on implementing one of CSS's top priorities in 2016, half-price transit fares for low-income New Yorkers, the Fair Fares program. The City Council included Fair Fares in its budget based on CSS research that found that 1 in 4 New Yorkers, low-income New Yorkers, were struggling to afford bus and subway fares. And there was strong political support for this initiative. So for someone who had campaigned on creating economic mobility for the city's lowest income residents, Fair Fares seemed like a no-brainer. At least David thought so. And let me tell you, David was like a dog with a bone with this issue. And I probably encouraged him just a little bit. It really incensed David that the mayor was dragging his feet on this initiative. And he was also bothered by the fact that the mayor was supporting subsidizing New York ferries, which is a ferry system in the city that served Manhattan from various points around the city. And it catered pretty much to affluent communities and tourists. And so the fact that the mayor was subsidizing this ferry service but was dragging his feet on Fair Fares really bothered David. And he took the mayor to task because David writes a bi-weekly column in the Amsterdam News and El Diario, and he used those columns to take on the mayor. And it wasn't just transit affordability. It was also the fact that the mayor refused to use his authority to change admissions policies at 5 of the 8 specialized high schools in the city that at the time didn't have a great record in admitting qualified Black and Latino students into those schools. And David also took issue with the mayor's position on the NYPD's over-policing of minority communities. But there's a bit of a happy ending to this relationship. Towards the end of the de Blasio administration, I was with David at City Hall, and we ran into the mayor. And he pulled me aside and he said, "David Jones is one of the nicest pains in the ass I've ever met." And that seemed pretty fitting, because David has never shrunk from a fight or from vigorous debate, even if sometimes feathers are ruffled. In fact, David once sued one of his principal donors who was not following the rules. And while he hasn't won all his battles, he has won enough to make a difference. So in closing, I want to talk about one of David's successes that's not a policy victory per se, such as winning paid sick days for nearly 1 million low-wage workers in the city, or helping to enact one of the most robust paid family leave laws in the state, or implementing fair fares, or some of the victories we've participated in bringing down barriers to employment, housing, and educational opportunities for people with criminal records. A bit of history first. About 15 years ago, the Great Recession and social media upended all media business plans, even for the biggest companies. City Limits, a nonprofit news organization founded in 1976 and best known for its public interest journalism and coverage of local issues critical to low and moderate income New Yorkers, was no exception. As one ad advertising, its most important revenue source, began to dry up, things looked pretty dire. Maybe it would have to close. David recognized that most New York media were dramatically reducing investment in hard news, especially local news that had the most impact on the poorest among us. The recession was accelerating that trend. Keeping City Limits alive ensured that there would remain at least one place where holding the powers that be to account was a founding principle. So he persuaded the board in 2009 to take the unusual step of acquiring City Limits, not as a mouthpiece for CSS, but as a home for independent journalism focused on the issues of housing, homelessness, and sustainability that other media were increasingly ignoring. Today, City Limits is thriving as an online journal, giving a voice to the voiceless in our poorest communities, and providing policymakers with a credible and reliable lens on the urban condition. And it is doing its part to produce the next generation of investigative journalists. So with that, on behalf of CSS, thank you for recognizing David with this award, and let's watch the video. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to sincerely thank the Alumni Association for City College of New York for honoring me with the John H. Finley Award, and I deeply regret not being present in person. I've been in public life, working in government, and for one of the oldest charities in America for over 50 years. Retirement is not yet in the cards for me, particularly in these fraught times in the city and the nation, with much that was fought for by prior generations at risk. And of course, my wife says I drive her crazy when I stay home for even a couple of days. The organization I lead, the Community Service Society of New York, works to bring down socioeconomic barriers that stand in the way of our city being a place where New Yorkers of all economic levels have an opportunity to live in safe and decent housing, access health care that is affordable and equitable, where workers are paid a living wage, and where New Yorkers with criminal histories who have paid their debt to society and served their sentences are not denied the chance to work, provide for their families, and move ahead economically. When I think of City College, I think of Harlem. Both are near and dear to my heart, and that's coming from a guy who grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. City College was established to provide children of immigrants and the poor with access to free higher education at a time when private higher education institutions excluded them. When it admitted its first class in 1849, it was called the Free Academy of the City of New York, attended by only white men. The poor man's Harvard, as it was known. Of course, it would take many, many decades after its founding before City College would evolve into the institution it is today, serving a diversity of students. Just as the civil rights movement of the 1960s was a period of reckoning in our nation, the 1969 student takeover of the City College campus for 2 weeks was a watershed moment in the institution's evolution. It ushered in open admissions and a remaking of the university into one of the most diverse in the city and the nation. At the time of the takeover, African Americans and Latinos made up only 9% of the student body, while they made up 40% of the city's high school graduates. Today, more than 2/3 of City College's undergraduate students are of color. As City College continues its 175-year history of preparing its students to tackle critical challenges facing our communities, cities, and nation, it is doing so behind the strength of innovative academic programs, such as the Charles B. Rangel Infrastructure Workforce Initiative, the STEM Institute, and the recently created Gaming Pathways program that will provide the first public option for those interested in careers in the digital gaming industry. Let me close by drawing a parallel between what the City College of New York has meant to the thousands and thousands of young people, many from poor households, who were first-generation college students and who entered its doors thirsting for knowledge and a chance for an education to build a life and future on, with that of a current migrant crisis that is gripping our city. Albert Einstein famously said, "In the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity." The migrant crisis is an opportunity for New York to show the world the values that we have. The Community Service Society was formed in 1939 by the merger of two venerable social service agencies, the New York Association for the Improvement of the Condition of the Poor and the Charity Organization Society. These charities and others helped the wave of Irish, Polish, Italian, and Eastern European Jewish immigrants arriving in New York in the 1950s, fleeing persecution and poverty and prejudice. They were joined by my own grandparents fleeing the lack of opportunity for people of color in the Caribbean. These organizations are not unlike the wide array of not-for-profit organizations today that are stepping up to provide critical services to the 113,000 migrants and their families as they try to get used to life in New York. New York's construction industry, restaurant and food service industries, and home health care sectors need new workers. We can train this population to fill those jobs, and in doing so, allow them to become financially independent and a part of the city's economic recovery. A critical first step for them, their children, and grandchildren in building a better future. New York's immigration history goes back 400 years. Immigrants then and now came to New York for the same reason, a better life, and they are the ones who made New York City great. Thank you.
Mr. Macklin, thank you very much for your words and your work, and thanks to Mr. Jones as well. It really is an honor to be up here with you. There's a lot of cool things someone could do on an evening in New York City, but being up here and bestowing awards on humanitarian alum of City College is definitely where I'm happy to be. So congratulations to everybody who got this award. Thanks for all your work, for your humanity, for your inspiration. Now we're going to do a little fun thing. I want to do a toast to all of you celebrating a milestone anniversary as a graduate of City College. If you graduated in a year ending in 3 or 8, like I did, 1978, 45 years ago, please stand up and let's raise our glasses and toast our alum from the years 3 and 8. Right on. Okay. Congratulations to all of you. A few important notes before ending the evening. Normally when I give a talk or a speech, I like to look into the eyes of the people I'm speaking to. That is impossible to do right now because I can't see you because of the lights. But if I could, I would look into all of your eyes and thank you so much for being here and just connect with you as an alum of this incredibly blessed institution that has done so much for the world. So let me just tell you about who helped put tonight on and who we want to acknowledge. The centerpieces tonight were provided by Hidden Spring Lavender Farm, and that's appropriate since our school color is lavender, and as you all know, at every seat there's a little sachet with dried lavender, so enjoy that, put it in your closet. We need to give thanks to the organizations and the individuals who supported this event by purchasing a table or an ad. The staff will bring up all of our underwriters on the screen tonight. Special thanks to our PhD level underwriters, Ellen and Elaine Golding. And the graduate level sponsors, United Federation of Teachers, Association Member Benefit Advisors, City College Office of the Provost, Gary Kalnick, Doris and Arthur Field, Larry Greengrass, Frank Siami and Siami Corporation, Carlo Zaskorsky, I practiced that this afternoon, Zaskorsky, Bernie Adler, Dr. Tracy Burgess, Eric Poon, and Joblin Younger. Thank you to all of our underwriters who are supporting this event, and everyone's listed in the program journal. So thanks for your support. Also, a phenomenal thank you to the staff that made tonight possible. The college's audio team is led by Carlos Fonseca. The video and lighting is provided tonight by Park Boulevard Productions. Streaming and video production by Connective Productions, led by Nadal Canarni. And of course, the Alumni Association staff, David Covington, Nina Farrell, Anthony Svitzer, Karen Fialos, Stacy Sturgis, Sujoy Debnith, and Bridget Guevara, alongside a number of volunteers that helped make tonight possible, including Ann Osis, Sebastian Bush, Mafuzar Rahman, Sarai Perez, and Kiesha Ruffin. A round of applause for all the staff, please. And to close out our evening, I'm going to invite David Covington to the stage to lead you all in a sing-song of Lavender.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it. Really, really do. I know that was because of the font joke, right? So thank you, Alan, very much for a wonderful job. Let's give a round of applause for Alan Hershkowitz, please. Thank you very much, Alan. Congratulations, of course, to the Alumni Association for being around for 171 years. It's because of you that that's happened. For 171 years, the association has been serving alumni and supported financially by alumni. We're an alumni-supported, alumni-directed organization. And the way that we really do that, the primary means that we do that is through membership. Without your loyalty and support, through membership and donations, we would not be able to continuously provide this community with the valuable benefits and programs that we offer. If you need to renew your membership, if you happen to be in the room tonight and you're here, you can do so in the back of the hall with our staff, or if you're online, you could do so on our website. If you are unsure whether or not your membership is active, no problem. And no reason to be embarrassed about it. We don't judge. The staff will happily check the database and let you know your status. Now, before we conclude the evening, of course, I'm desperate to get 2 photos. The first photo with all of our honorees. Please, if you could make your way to the step and repeat right now, our honorees, for 1 photo. And then if you have a Townsend Harris medal, whether you awarded it this year, last year, or any year previous, we'd like to have you up here as well for a photo. While you make your way to the stage, I am going to introduce the next section of our evening, our entertainment. We have some incredible musicians. I'd like to invite the band to please make their way to the stage. It's a mix of current City College students in the music department. A special thanks to Professor Michael Holliber for curating the group tonight, which consists of, on sax, graduate student Julian Brezen, on drums, student Antonio Cerveda, on piano, Nikolai Danik, on bass, Vasilis Koutsananos, and on vocals, Simona Daniele. And it wouldn't be a CCNY alumni gathering, as Alan referenced, without singing our song, Lavender, My Lavender. Unfortunately, it's not me leading you in that endeavor, but we have our very talented students here to help us get along with that. And you're not getting off that easy. You must sing along. If you're rusty on the words, they're conveniently located in the program journal just inside the front cover. So thank you all very, very much for joining us tonight for this fundraiser. Post your pictures on social media, donate with the hashtag, click the online donate button, and Simona, you can take it away. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you. Please sing along with me. streets of City College, trusty hearts and mighty hands, rally warriors streaming banner with its dauntless emblem stands. Sing a cheer to heaven ringing, voicing gain a fond acclaim, faith and pride in alma mater and her never dying fame. Lavender, my lavender, lavender, my lavender, on the field of life's endeavor, bound by ties that now can savor, held with alma mater ever. Lavender, my lavender. Daughters, wives of City College, join your voices in the song to the lusty cheers of brothers at your effort clear and strong. Send a hymn to heaven singing, filled with love and fond acclaim, faith and pride in alma mater and her never dying fame. Lavender, oh lavender, lavender, my lavender, on Thank you. Thank you. Now, the rest of the band is going to join us on stage. Julian Brezon at the tenor saxophone, Vasilis Kotsonanos at the double bass, and Antonio Cerfeda at the drums, Nikolai Danek. Every honeybee fills with jealousy when they see you're out with me. I don't blame it, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flowers droop inside, and another reason why you're much sweeter, goodness knows, 'cause you're my honeysuckle rose. I don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. I don't buy sugar, it's sweet when you stir it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasted lips, seems the honey fairly drips. Your confection, goodness knows, 'cause you're my honeysuckle rose. Sa-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Shabba-ba-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-ah-eh. Shabba-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo. Every honeybee feels with jealousy when they see you're out with me. I don't blame it, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flowers droop inside, and another reason why you're much sweeter, goodness knows, 'cause you're my honeysuckle rose. I don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. I don't buy sugar, it's sweet when you stir it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, sips and honey fairly drips. Your confection, goodness knows, 'cause you're my honeysuckle rose. Your confection, goodness knows. Your confection, goodness knows, 'cause you're my honey, honey, honey. 'Cause you're my honey, honey, honey. Shaboo-ba-doo, shaboo-doo. You're my honey, you're my honey, you're my honey, honeysuckle rose, honeysuckle rose. Thank you. Heaven, I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. I'm in heaven, and the hands that hung around me through the week seem to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak. When we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to climb the mountain and to reach the highest peak, but I don't enjoy it half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I'd love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but I don't enjoy it half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Come on and dance with me. I want my arms around you. The charms around you will carry me through heaven. I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. when we're all together dancing, when we're all together dancing cheek to cheek. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Night and day, you are the one, only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are. I think of you.